The buzz of anticipation fills the air as I step out of the elevator on my first day at the new job. The office is a sleek maze of glass partitions and polished floors, a testament to modern corporate efficiency. As I make my way down the corridor, my nerves are a tangled mess, but there's an underlying thrill at the prospect of new beginnings. I've been waiting for this opportunity, and now that it's here, I'm determined to make the most of it. My footsteps echo in the quiet hallway. I glance at the nameplates beside each door, searching for my new office. I can hear the distant hum of a printer and the low murmur of conversations floating from nearby rooms. I finally spot the nameplate marked Andrew Carter, Junior Analyst. I smile to myself, feeling a small surge of pride. Just as I reach for the door handle, I pause, hearing laughter, loud and familiar. It's coming from the office directly across from mine. My curiosity piqued, I glance at the nameplate, Eric Masters, Senior Consultant. The door is slightly ajar, and I can see the shadows of people moving inside. I take a step closer, my heart skipping a beat. The laughter becomes more distinct, and my blood runs cold as I recognize the voice. It's Emily, my wife. What the hell is she doing here? She never mentioned working with someone named Eric Masters. I push the door open slightly, just enough to peer inside. My stomach churns as the scene unfolds before me. Emily is there, standing in the middle of the room, completely naked, her skin flushed with excitement. She's laughing, her eyes bright with mischief, as Eric, a tall, broad-shouldered man with a cocky grin, leans back in his chair, watching her with amusement. I can't move, can't breathe. The world tilts, and I grip the door frame for support. This isn't real. This can't be happening. But the betrayal is there, unfolding right in front of me, raw and undeniable. Emily leans over, her fingers trailing over Eric's chest, her voice a sultry whisper. You know, I've always liked working here, she says with a playful smirk. It's just so satisfying. My mind races. The late nights, the unexplained absences, the evasive answers, all of it suddenly makes sense. She's been seeing him, here, at work, where I've trusted her implicitly. A part of me wants to burst in, to confront them both, but I force myself to stay still, to watch and listen. I need to understand the full extent of this betrayal. Eric chuckles, a deep, resonant sound that grates on my nerves. Well, I'm glad you're satisfied, he replies, reaching out to pull her closer. But you should be careful, Em. Someone might walk in on us. Emily laughs again, a carefree, dismissive sound that twists the knife deeper into my heart. Oh, don't worry about that, she says, waving a hand dismissively. Nobody comes around here this early. I pull back from the door, my heart pounding in my chest. My vision blurs with anger and disbelief. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I loved and trusted, is nothing more than a stranger now. I take a few shaky steps backward, trying to calm the storm raging inside me. My mind is a whirlwind of emotions, rage, betrayal, heartbreak, all vying for dominance. How could she do this? How could she betray everything we built together? My hands tremble as I turn away, needing to escape before I do something reckless. The office around me is a blur as I make my way back to the elevator, each step feeling heavier than the last. My breath comes in shallow gasps, and I struggle to keep my composure. As the elevator doors close, I lean against the wall, letting out a shaky breath. My thoughts are a chaotic jumble, but one thing is clear, I can't let this go unanswered. I won't let her get away with this betrayal. By the time I reach the ground floor, a plan is already forming in my mind. If she thinks she can play me for a fool, she's in for a rude awakening. I may be devastated, but I'm not powerless. I refuse to be a victim. I walk out of the building, the morning sun glaring down at me as if mocking my pain. But I welcome the harshness of it, letting it fuel my resolve. Emily might have shattered my trust, but she hasn't broken me. Not yet. I need time to think, to plot my next move. The betrayal is still fresh, a raw wound that stings with every thought, but beneath the hurt, a fire ignites, a determination to reclaim my dignity, to restore my shattered world. I pull out my phone, scrolling through my contacts until I find the name I've been seeking. Robert Jameson, an old friend from college who now runs a successful investigative firm. I hesitate for a moment, my thumb hovering over the call button, but my resolve hardens. If Emily wants to play dirty, I'll show her just how ruthless I can be. The phone rings, and Robert picks up on the second ring, his voice a welcome relief amidst the chaos in my head. "Andrew. Long time no see. What's up?" "Hey, Rob," I reply, trying to keep my voice steady. "I need a favor. It's personal." There's a pause on the line, and I can almost hear him weighing the seriousness of my tone. "Name it." I take a deep breath, preparing to lay bare the betrayal that has turned my world upside down. "I need you to dig into Emily's work life. Everything. I need to know who she's been meeting, where she's been going. Can you do that for me?" "Of course," Robert says without hesitation. "Consider it done. I'll get my best team on it. Just hang in there, buddy." I end the call, a flicker of hope breaking through the dark cloud of despair. If there's one thing I can count on, it's Robert's discretion and expertise. With him on my side, I have a fighting chance to uncover the full extent of Emily's betrayal and plan my next move accordingly. As I walk through the bustling city streets, I steel myself for the battle ahead. The betrayal may have cut deep, but it has also awakened a resilience I never knew I possessed. I'm ready to fight back, to reclaim my life from the wreckage of this deceit. And as for Emily and her lover, they'll soon learn that there's nothing more dangerous than a man with nothing left to lose. The next morning, I arrive at the office early, determined to maintain a semblance of normalcy despite the chaos swirling in my mind. The encounter with Emily and Eric from the day before plays on a loop, an incessant reminder of betrayal. But today is different. Today, I have a plan. The office is quiet as I step out of the elevator. The fluorescent lights flicker to life as I walk down the corridor toward my office. I pass by Eric's door, which is shut tight, and for a moment, I imagine bursting in, confronting him with the fury that's been simmering within me. But I resist the urge. I need to be patient. "Morning, Andrew," a cheerful voice greets me, snapping me out of my thoughts. I turn to see Lisa, the office receptionist, smiling at me from her desk. Her red hair is pulled back into a neat ponytail, and her friendly demeanor is a stark contrast to the turmoil inside me. "Morning, Lisa," I reply, forcing a smile. "Big day ahead," she asks, oblivious to the storm brewing beneath my facade. "You could say that," I respond, hoping she doesn't notice the tension in my voice. As I settle into my office, I review the tasks for the day, trying to focus on work. The minutes crawl by, each tick of the clock a reminder of the impending confrontation. A soft knock on my door pulls me back to the present. It's Sarah, one of my colleagues, holding a stack of reports. Sarah is efficient, with a sharp eye for detail, and I value her input. "Hey, Andrew," she says, stepping inside. "I just wanted to drop these off for you to review. They're the quarterly projections." "Thanks, Sarah," I reply, taking the documents from her. She hesitates, sensing something is off. "Everything okay? You seem a bit distracted." I hesitate, contemplating how much to reveal. Sarah has always been trustworthy, but I'm not ready to share my personal turmoil with anyone yet. "Just a lot on my mind," I say, offering a reassuring smile. "But I'm getting through it." Sarah nods, accepting my explanation. "Well, if you need any help, just let me know. We've all got your back." "Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate it." As she leaves, I turn back to my desk, my mind already shifting to the plan I've put in motion. I check my phone, waiting for an update from Robert. He promised to have something for me by today, and the anticipation is eating away at me. Finally, around midday, my phone buzzes with a text. It's from Robert. "Meet me at the cafe on 5th at lunch. Got something for you." My heart pounds in my chest as I read the message. This is it. This is the moment where I'll learn just how deep Emily's betrayal runs. I grab my jacket and make my way out of the office, telling Lisa I'll be back in an hour. The cafe is bustling with the lunchtime crowd when I arrive. I spot Robert seated at a table near the back, his expression serious. He stands up to greet me, his handshake firm and reassuring. "Andrew," he says, gesturing for me to sit. "I dug up some interesting stuff. You're not going to like it." I take a seat, my stomach twisting with anticipation and dread. "What did you find?" Robert pulls out a folder from his bag, sliding it across the table to me. "Emily's been seeing Eric for a while now, about 6 months, according to what I've uncovered. But it's not just that." I open the folder, skimming through the pages filled with photographs, meeting schedules, and emails. Each piece of evidence is like a fresh wound, confirming my worst fears. "Eric's not the only one," Robert continues, his voice low and steady. "There are a couple more guys, all connected to her job. It seems she's been using her position to, well, you get the idea." My heart sinks as the betrayal deepens. The woman I thought I knew, the life I believed we shared, has been a carefully constructed facade. Emily's infidelity isn't a momentary lapse in judgment, it's a calculated series of deceptions. "How did I not see this?" I mutter, my voice barely audible. Robert places a comforting hand on my shoulder. "People like her are good at hiding the truth, Andrew. It's not your fault." I nod, the anger and hurt simmering beneath my skin. The more I read, the more determined I become to make her pay for this betrayal. My resolve hardens with every detail, every lie she's told. "Thanks, Rob," I say, closing the folder. "I needed to know the truth." He nods, his expression sympathetic. "What are you going to do now?" "I'm going to confront her," I reply, the decision firm in my mind. "And then I'm going to make sure she regrets every minute of it." Robert gives me a look of encouragement. "If you need any more help, just let me know. I've got your back, no matter what." I leave the cafe with a renewed sense of purpose, my mind racing with thoughts of retribution. Emily thinks she can walk all over me, but she's about to learn the hard way that actions have consequences. Back at the office, I find myself pacing my small workspace, waiting for the right moment to confront Emily. Each tick of the clock is a countdown to the inevitable showdown. Finally, I see her entering the office, her usual confident stride only fueling my anger. I wait until she's settled at her desk before I approach her office. The door is open, and she looks up as I enter, a smile playing on her lips. "Hey, Andrew," she greets me, her voice sweet and innocent. "What's up?" I shut the door behind me, the click of the latch louder than I anticipate. My heart is pounding, but I push the fear aside, focusing on the task at hand. "Emily, we need to talk," I say, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. She raises an eyebrow, feigning ignorance. "Sure, what's going on?" I toss the folder onto her desk, watching as she flips it open. Her eyes widen, and for the first time, I see a flicker of fear. "Andrew, I can explain," she starts, but I cut her off, my patience wearing thin. "Explain what, Emily?" I ask, my tone laced with sarcasm. "Explain how you've been lying to me for months? Or how you've been using your job as a cover for your affairs?" Her mouth opens, but no words come out. The silence stretches between us, heavy with accusation and betrayal. "Do you have any idea what this feels like?" I continue, my voice rising. "To find out that the person you love, the person you trust, is nothing more than a fraud." Tears well up in her eyes, but I'm beyond caring. The damage is done, and there's no going back. "Andrew, I'm sorry," she finally says, her voice breaking. "I never meant for you to find out like this." I laugh, a harsh, bitter sound that echoes in the small office. "That's your apology? That you didn't want me to find out? You're unbelievable." She reaches for my hand, but I pull away, unwilling to let her touch me. The betrayal is too fresh, too raw. "What are you going to do?" she asks, her voice trembling. I take a deep breath, my decision unwavering. I'm filing for divorce, Emily. And I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person you are. The color drains from her face, and for a moment, I feel a twisted sense of satisfaction. This is what she deserves. This is the price of her betrayal. As I leave her office, I know there's no turning back. The path ahead is fraught with challenges, but I'm ready to face them. Emily has made her choices, and now it's time for me to make mine. In the weeks that follow, the fallout from our confrontation reverberates through the office. Rumors swirl, and whispers follow me wherever I go. Emily's reputation is tarnished, her once confident demeanor now replaced with a shadow of shame and regret. And as for me, I'm determined to rebuild, to rise above the wreckage of our shattered relationship. It won't be easy, but with Robert's support and the strength I've discovered within myself, I know I can overcome anything. Emily may have thought she could deceive me, but she underestimated my resolve. And now, as I look toward the future, I'm ready to embrace whatever comes next, determined to emerge stronger and wiser than before. The dust settles after my confrontation with Emily, but the storm is far from over. News of our split spreads through the office like wildfire, igniting gossip and speculation among my colleagues. I brace myself for the inevitable questions and whispers, determined to maintain my focus and dignity. It's a difficult balancing act, navigating my professional responsibilities while dealing with the aftermath of my personal crisis. Sarah approaches my desk, her expression a mix of concern and curiosity. Andrew, she begins hesitantly, I heard about what happened with Emily. I just want you to know that if you need anything, I'm here. I appreciate her support, even if it comes tinged with the office's ever-present curiosity. Thanks, Sarah, I reply, trying to keep my tone light. It's been a rough few weeks, but I'm managing. She nods sympathetically, her eyes searching mine for any sign of how deep the wound really is. If you ever need to talk, or if there's anything I can do, just let me know. Will do, I assure her, grateful for her kindness, but eager to shift the focus back to work. As the days pass, I throw myself into my tasks, using them as a distraction from the chaos that my life has become. My phone buzzes intermittently with updates from Robert, who has been digging deeper into Emily's world, unearthing more connections and secrets I wish I didn't have to know. The investigation reveals a tangled web of deceit, involving not just her affair with Eric, but several other colleagues at the firm. Each revelation is a blow to my already battered spirit, but it also fuels my determination to expose Emily's true nature. One afternoon, Robert calls me with an update that's too significant to ignore. Andrew, I found something, he says, his voice tense with urgency. You need to see this for yourself. We agree to meet at a nearby bar after work, a familiar haunt where we've shared countless beers and stories over the years. When I arrive, Robert is already there, seated in a dimly lit corner booth with a file folder resting on the table in front of him. Hey, I greet him, sliding into the seat across from him. What have you got? Robert pushes the folder toward me, his expression grave. This is bigger than I thought. Emily's been involved in some shady dealings at the office. It's not just about the affairs anymore. My pulse quickens as I open the folder and start reading. Inside, I find copies of emails, financial records, and confidential reports that paint a picture of corruption and deceit. Emily and Eric, along with a few other higher-ups, have been embezzling funds from the company, using their positions to manipulate numbers and funnel money into personal accounts. This is unbelievable, I mutter, my eyes scanning the pages in disbelief. I knew she was unfaithful, but this is a whole new level of betrayal. Robert nods, his expression grim. I had a feeling it was more than just personal. There's a lot of money involved here, Andrew. Enough to land her in serious legal trouble. The weight of this new information settles heavily on my shoulders. Emily's infidelity was one thing, but her involvement in a criminal scheme is another beast entirely. Her involvement in a criminal scheme is a betrayal not only of our marriage, but also of her professional responsibilities and the trust of everyone at the company. What are you going to do? Robert asks, his gaze steady and supportive. I take a deep breath, considering my options. Part of me wants to see her face justice for her actions, but another part of me hesitates, unsure of the repercussions this might have on my own life and career. I need to think about it, I admit, feeling the gravity of the decision before me. But I can't let this go unpunished. She's crossed a line, and she needs to be held accountable. Robert nods, understanding the complexity of the situation. Whatever you decide, I'm here to help. Just let me know what you need. We spend the next hour discussing the potential fallout, weighing the risks and benefits of taking action against Emily and her accomplices. It's a delicate situation, one that requires careful planning and consideration. Her involvement in a criminal leave the bar, my mind is a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. I walk the city streets, the evening air cool against my skin as I grapple with the enormity of what I've uncovered. My initial anger at Emily's infidelity now mixes with a sense of responsibility to do the right thing, not just for myself, but for everyone else affected by her actions. The next day at work, I find myself more alert and observant, watching the interactions around me with a new understanding. I see Eric laughing with a group of colleagues, his charm and charisma masking the deceit that lies beneath. I catch glimpses of Emily, her demeanor as polished and confident as ever, but now I see the cracks in her facade. I take a deep breath, steeling myself for the confrontation that looms on the horizon. I know that bringing this to light won't be easy, but I also know it's the right thing to do. The company deserves to know the truth, and justice needs to be served. That afternoon, I schedule a meeting with the head of human resources, a no-nonsense woman named Karen who has a reputation for being fair but firm. As I sit in her office, my heart pounds with anticipation and anxiety. "Andrew, what can I do for you?" she asks, her eyes sharp and inquisitive. I hesitate for a moment, the weight of my decision pressing down on me. But then I remember the emails, the financial records, and the betrayal that has shattered my life. I take a deep breath and begin to speak. "I have something important to discuss, Karen," I say, meeting her gaze. It's about Emily and some things I've discovered about her activities at the company. Her expression shifts to one of concern, and she leans forward, listening intently as I lay out the evidence before her. As I speak, I watch her eyes widen with shock and disbelief, her professional demeanor momentarily slipping. "This is serious, Andrew," she says when I finish, her voice steady but laced with urgency. "If what you're saying is true, we need to launch a formal investigation immediately." I nod, feeling a sense of relief at finally taking action. I know it's a lot to process, but I couldn't keep it to myself. The company deserves better than this. Karen assures me that she'll handle the situation discreetly and thoroughly, promising to keep me updated as the investigation unfolds. As I leave her office, I feel a mix of anxiety and hope, knowing that I've set in motion a chain of events that could change everything. The days that follow are tense and uncertain. I watch as Karen quietly gathers evidence, conducting interviews and reviewing the documents I've provided. The office buzzes with speculation as rumors circulate, but I keep my head down, focusing on my work and waiting for the inevitable fallout. Finally, one morning, Karen calls me into her office again. Her expression is serious, but there's a glimmer of resolve in her eyes. "Andrew, we've confirmed everything you brought to us," she says, her voice steady. "Emily, Eric, and a few others have been suspended pending further investigation. Legal action will follow, but for now, I want to thank you for your courage in coming forward." The relief that washes over me is overwhelming, and I nod, grateful for her support and validation. "I just wanted to do the right thing," I reply, feeling the weight of the past few weeks begin to lift. As I leave her office, I realize that while the road ahead is still uncertain, I've taken the first step toward reclaiming my life and restoring my integrity. Emily's betrayal may have shattered our marriage, but it has also revealed a strength within me that I never knew I possessed. And as the company moves forward, so do I, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead, determined to rebuild and emerge stronger than before. The day of the company meeting arrives, and the atmosphere in the office is electric with tension. Karen has called an all-hands meeting to address the investigation's findings, and everyone is on edge, waiting to see how the cards will fall. I sit at my desk, my heart pounding as I anticipate the confrontation that lies ahead. The last few weeks have been a whirlwind of emotions, but today feels like the culmination of it all. As the clock ticks closer to the meeting time, I catch sight of Emily entering the office. Her expression is a mix of defiance and fear, a stark contrast to the confident facade she usually wears. She locks eyes with me, and for a moment, I see a flicker of vulnerability. But the moment passes, replaced by the steely resolve of someone who knows their time is up. When the time arrives, the entire office gathers in the conference room. The room is filled with hushed whispers and curious glances as people settle into their seats. Karen stands at the front, her presence commanding attention as she prepares to deliver the news. "Thank you all for being here today," Karen begins, her voice clear and authoritative. "As many of you know, we've been conducting an investigation into certain activities that have come to our attention. I want to assure you that we take these matters very seriously, and we have taken steps to ensure the integrity of our company." The room is silent as everyone hangs on her every word, waiting for the revelations to come. "After a thorough investigation, we have discovered a pattern of unethical behavior involving financial misconduct and breaches of trust," Karen continues, her gaze sweeping the room. "Effective immediately, Emily Carter, Eric Masters, and several others will no longer be part of our organization. Legal proceedings are being pursued, and I ask for your cooperation as we navigate this challenging time." A murmur ripples through the room, a mix of shock, relief, and disbelief. I glance around, noting the varied reactions. Some are stunned, others seem unsurprised. Emily stands, her face pale but composed, as she prepares to make her exit. As she turns to leave, her eyes meet mine, and I feel a surge of emotions, anger, betrayal, and a lingering sadness for what once was. Despite everything, part of me mourns the loss of the woman I thought I knew, the life we shared that now feels like a distant memory. But the revelations don't end there. Karen's voice cuts through the room once more, drawing my attention back to her. "There's one more thing," Karen announces, her tone grave. "During our investigation, we uncovered evidence suggesting that this situation may have been orchestrated by a third party, someone who manipulated circumstances for personal gain." A wave of confusion sweeps over the room, and my heart skips a beat as I process her words. Orchestrated? Manipulated? What is she talking about? Karen pauses, letting the suspense build before continuing. "We discovered communication between Eric Masters and an external party, Robert Jameson, a private investigator. It appears there was an agreement between them to exploit the company's vulnerabilities for their own benefit." My mind reels at the mention of Robert's name, the shock of betrayal hitting me like a tidal wave. Robert, my friend, the one person I thought I could trust, was involved in this? The room spins around me as I struggle to comprehend the implications of Karen's words. The pieces fall into place with a sickening clarity. Robert's eagerness to help, the way he encouraged my investigation, and the ease with which he uncovered information, it was all part of a larger scheme. He had used me to bring down the company, exploiting my personal crisis for his own agenda. The room erupts in whispers, and I feel a dozen pairs of eyes on me, the weight of their judgment suffocating. Emily's gaze is locked on mine, a mix of accusation and triumph in her eyes. Despite her own downfall, she finds satisfaction in my betrayal, knowing that I've been played just as much as she has. My mind races, a whirlwind of emotions, rage at Robert's betrayal, humiliation at being used, and a deep sense of loss for the friendship I thought we had. How could I have been so blind? How could I have let my anger and hurt be manipulated so easily? I stand, the need for answers propelling me forward. "Karen," I call out, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. "I need to know more about this. What exactly did Robert do?" Karen looks at me, her expression one of sympathy and understanding. "Andrew, I know this is difficult, but we have evidence that Robert orchestrated a series of events to destabilize our company. He provided information to Eric and others, creating a network of deceit that ultimately led to the current situation." The weight of her words settles heavily on my shoulders, a crushing realization that I've been a pawn in a game I didn't even know was being played. Robert had used my pain and anger, turning them into weapons against the very company I sought to protect. I feel the need to confront him, to demand answers and accountability. But I know that won't change the damage done, won't erase the betrayal that has shattered my trust in those around me. As the meeting concludes, I make my way out of the conference room, my mind a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. I pass by Emily, who pauses, her expression a mix of contempt and pity. "I guess we both underestimated the people we thought we knew," she says, her voice tinged with bitterness. I meet her gaze, the shared understanding of betrayal between us a bitter reminder of how far we've fallen. "I guess so," I reply, my voice resigned. We part ways, the chasm between us now insurmountable. The love we once shared has turned to ashes, leaving nothing but a lingering sense of loss and regret. As I leave the office, the city's hustle and bustle surround me, the world moving on even as my own life feels suspended in chaos. I make my way to the bar where Robert and I had shared so many conversations, hoping for some clarity or closure. But as I sit alone, nursing a drink, I realize that some questions will remain unanswered, some betrayals too deep to ever fully comprehend. I've lost more than a marriage and a friend, I've lost the sense of security and trust that once grounded me. In the weeks that follow, I begin the slow process of rebuilding, seeking to find stability and peace in the aftermath of betrayal. It's a journey filled with challenges and self-reflection, but I'm determined to emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Emily and I never speak again, the finality of our separation a necessary step toward healing. We move on in separate directions, each seeking to rebuild and redefine our lives in the shadow of our shared past. And as for Robert, he becomes a distant memory, a cautionary tale of the dangers of misplaced trust and hidden agendas. I learn to be more discerning, more cautious in whom I place my faith, knowing that the world is not always as it seems. The road ahead is uncertain, but I face it with a renewed sense of determination and hope. The betrayals that once threatened to destroy me now serve as lessons, reminders of the strength I've discovered within myself. And as I step forward into the future, I carry with me the knowledge that I can overcome anything, that I am not defined by the betrayals of the past, but by the resilience and courage I find in the journey toward a brighter tomorrow.